Welcome to our world. Won't you come on in? Waiting just for you. Welcome to our world.
Check 1, 2. Oh,
Well, Jim, my point is that if your mic is muted, you may not hear yourself.
doesn't work.
You see the issue. Oh,
yeah.
actually,
Why is my light not on?
could you? I don't know. You just turned it off.
I can do that?
Maybe. Can you hand me the calendar, please?
How?
That's not the
Wrong calendar.
And we're live.
Okay. And so we shall begin with
This week in history.
That's right, folks. This week in history. This week in history, in 1954, Maria Tallchief, the first Native American prima ballerina, performs in the Nutcracker.
Isn't that wonderful?
That's exciting.
Wait, this week?
Yes, this week in
I
history.
thought the Nutcracker was a Christmas thing.
It's performed at all times of the year.
I don't think so.
Okay.
What was
Yes,
that?
it
Some
is.
kind of a joke that they were telling her she could perform, and then they said, but it's in February.
Okay.
That just doesn't seem right.
In 1865, Hampton Roads Conference fails to reach accord. What the heck is that? Do you know?
Doesn't it explain what it is?
No. That's all it
Oh,
says.
no.
No, I'm just kidding. There's a whole thing. I just figured you know a lot of history things.
No,
Maybe you would know
I
that.
don't know.
On February 3rd, 1865, President Abraham Lincoln met with a delegation of Confederate officials to discuss a peace agreement in Hampton Roads, Virginia. The meeting had been suggested by Horace Greeley, the abolitionist editor of the New York Tribune. The Southern military situation had progressively worsened during the winters of 1864 and 65, leading Confederate President Jefferson Davis to send his vice president, Alexander Stephens, and two others to the meeting. The Union was in an advantageous position, however, allowing Lincoln to present, on a take-it-or-leave-it basis, his requirement that, quote, those who were resisting the laws of the Union cease that resistance, unquote. The
Wow.
president insisted on immediate reunification of North and South and disarmament by the Confederates as a precondition to further discussion. The conference concluded after less than a 5-hour meeting where the delegation left without reaching an accord or any compromises, and the war carried on for over 2 months.
Isn't it unbelievable? Like our country is so divided now, but the thought of having a war, like a civil war, people in our country, literally killing each other just seems so crazy to me.
I don't know. Texas is trying really hard to leave, so I think...
Okay.
I don't know. All right. In 1980, Studio 54 hosts Grand Closing Party. Studio 54 is the iconic Manhattan disco club.
Yeah, that's sad.
Oh, club promoters exercised a great deal of exclusivity regarding the patrons allowed in, who were mostly A-list celebrities in the 70s, including Woody Allen, Olivia Newton-John, Cher, Mick Jagger, Elizabeth Taylor, Michael Jackson, and Elton John.
I don't know any of those people.
Okay. In 1783, earthquake devastates southern Italy. An estimated 7.5 to 8 magnitude quake struck southern Italy in Calabria.
Was it near the Leaning Tower of Pisa?
I don't know. A witness claimed that, quote, two mountains on the opposite sides of a valley walked from their original position until they met in the middle of the plain, and there joining together they intercepted the course of a river, unquote. New lakes also appeared across the region. Why are you laughing? Including aftershocks.
Wait, it was worded walked? The mountains walked?
Including aftershocks and the indirect effects of the earthquakes, more than 50,000 people died across the region. Is that funny to you?
Well, no.
Okay.
But, no, go ahead.
But what?
No, I wonder how many people, because it said, including the after effects or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? How many people actually died immediately from the earthquake or say the following week? You know what I mean?
Within a minute, more than 100 villages were leveled throughout the region. In several cases, communities were literally wiped away with no survivors or standing structures remaining.
Wow. I hate it when that happens.
I'm going to cry. According to one report, more than 100 goats fell into another crack in the earth.
They talked about 50,000 people dying, and you're tearing up because of 100 goats.
Hold on.
I wonder if they were baby goats. Hold on. Here you go. She really is tearing up. I mean, it's more of tearing up sounds like an understatement. She's in full on.
We need to move on.
She's a mess.
1778.
Do you need a moment?
No. This in 1778, representatives signed Franco-American alliances. Representatives from the United States and France signed the Treaty of Amity and Commerce and the Treaty of Alliance in Paris.
What does amity mean?
I don't know. That's why I paused.
Okay.
The French.
Is it like friend? That's what I was going to say. Isn't it like something to do with friendship? But
well, yeah. That I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Okay, we're moving on. In 1964, the Beatles arrive on American shores for the first time. We all know them.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that was okay. And then in 1965, the Supremes' song "Stop in the Name of Love" is released. Would you like to do your rendition?
No.
Stop in the name of love.
Wow, you got the vibrato going there and everything.
Break my heart. You could be the backup singer.
You know. Nope. Can't
Baby,
do that.
baby.
Okay. Okay.
Moving on to
Listener feedback. Yeah.
That's right. We're in listener feedback now, everyone. Okay. I'm still crying about the goats. Okay.
Wow.
Anyway.
Swallowed up by the earth. The baby goats.
I don't remember what this was about. We were talking about laws. This was you saying that we should follow laws. And
yeah, my point was your default should be, this is the law. I'll follow the law.
Yes.
The law is not for every person to decide for themselves. Go ahead. That was my point.
And then there was a follow-up to that I had given the example of like safety and traffic laws.
Mm-hmm.
And this person commented, I'm not talking about safety/traffic laws. I'm talking about words you can't say, for example. Why is the government policing our speech? That's just about control. So, yes, more like words that cannot be said.
Yeah. Well, to me, that's where the default should be, right? The whole point of freedom of speech is to be able to say things that other people don't like without them coming after you,
mm-hmm.
right? As long as you're not openly advocating for the harm of another person or murder or whatever, you should be able to offend people all you want.
That's what I was just going to say. If I offend you,
it happens all the time.
I should still be able to offend you.
Yes. Yeah.
Just as you can offend me.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Right. But you're allowed more than I.
This person commented, Sully landed his plane in the Hudson, not the Potomac. Also, Samantha, the Potomac is the river in D.C. I don't know. Did I say that I didn't know where it was in the episode? I know where the Potomac is.
I don't
maybe
remember.
when I said I don't know what this is, I meant I don't know about this
the event,
incident.
not the geographic. Yeah,
I do in fact know where the Potomac is.
No. Now it makes more sense now. Yep.
And this was we actually already talked about this commenter's grievance about soap dispensers. Why is that the automatic process in bathrooms? It's the least necessary part too.
Exactly.
To make automatic.
Why?
So this person said, to add to the soap dispenser grievance, when I was at the airport last week, I used a soap dispenser that kept spitting out soap as I was washing my hands, so it should have only dispensed 1 serving of soap, but it dispensed like 4 or 5. Also so annoying to waste all that soap.
Maybe your hands were really dirty and you just didn't realize it.
And you didn't know it, maybe. Maybe that was it.
Yep.
Oh, this person, actually, this was not a commenter. This was someone from work that listens to the podcast. And this person said, your dad is pretty funny.
Yes.
So,
yes.
There you go.
Finally, one person.
Good for you.
Yeah.
He didn't say I'm funny. He just said,
he also just said pretty funny, which is kind of disappointing.
It is disappointing.
I know. I'm not as funny on most of the podcasts as I am in real life. I think I'm funnier most of the time. After this podcast is over is when I really become funny.
Okay. This person commented, I don't know the meaning of life, but I think you guys talked about a lot of interesting stuff. So thanks
That's
for
cool.
nothing.
That is the meaning of life.
What?
Interesting stuff.
I don't know about that.
Yep, talking about interesting stuff.
Okay, this is maybe a longer one.
I think I use the word stuff way too often.
You do. Something to consider. Was religion invented to give people an answer to the question of what is the meaning of life? I think the purpose of life is to leave the world better than the way you found it, in some way, even if it's just one way. Maybe you leave it worse off in other ways. For example, I'm vegan, so I'm making the world better for the animals, but I have an iPhone, so maybe I'm not doing a good job for slave labor. Quote, that's in quotes. Interesting point about the shoes, but I don't totally agree. Tom's does it, I think. If I remember correctly, it's not like I buy a pair of boots and then give a pair of boots. The shoes they give are like a cheap pair of flip-flops, so I think shoemakers will still be in business, but maybe not the flip-flop makers. Ha ha ha. As the episode continues, Samantha, it appears we have the same viewpoint. So that's nice.
But the whole thing of buy one, give one away, the thing that bugs me about it is it makes it like that company or the owners of that company are somehow great people because they're giving stuff. They're not giving anything away. They're charging you more for the shoes that you buy so they can say, now we donated this when you actually donated
You
it.
paid for both
You
pairs
paid
of
for
shoes.
it. Yeah,
right.
it's not like the owners are now all of a sudden not making money that month. That's not happening. You know, that bothers me because companies do this all the time. Every company does it. Say, you know, it could be ExxonMobil, right? People love to hate big oil companies, but they'll have all their employees donate to something, and then it'll be like, oh, look how much ExxonMobil donated to this. That just really bugs me.
So
you know?
It sounds like you agree that companies and their executives are inherently evil.
Yeah.
Okay, next comment. Yes to the cat dog thing. Great point. You have a pet. Now that's the meaning of life. These individual moments you're talking about, maybe that's part of what Samantha was talking about. Living in the moment, live in the moment, do everything you can to make life better in those moments.
Agree. One thing before I forget, getting back to the comment about making the world better and the meaning of life and all of that, like leaving the world better than you found it, and saying about, you know, like being a vegan, making it better for the animals. Our cats, the menopause.
Animals like the goats that fell.
The menopause. No, think about it. Every couple days, what do? They get a squirrel. They catch a squirrel, right? So, okay, you could say, well, they're making life worse for the squirrels, but I'll guarantee you for a lot of the human animals around here, they're making life better because those squirrels make so much screeching noise. It's like so annoying. So
by the animals, you mean you.
Yes.
Making your life better.
Well, I'm an animal. I'm an animal.
I think my only argument against that, which this should be a separate podcast too, obviously, I guess maybe like veganism and all that stuff, would be we are at a point in history where we could very easily not eat any meat and we would be fine. And we could subsidize all the stuff that we get from meat with something else. And so it's not, yes, is it the circle of life? And from the beginning of time, was that quote unquote the circle of life? Yes. However, we could easily change that.
I don't think it's that simple.
No, I'm not saying it'd be simple to implement or simple to whatever. I'm just saying it is possible.
When I say I don't say no, when I say
I was still talking. I was in the middle of a sentence.
Go ahead.
Nope, that's okay.
No,
Go
when
ahead.
I say I don't think it's that simple,
you.
I don't mean just simple as in simple to implement. I mean, okay, it's more expensive, right? Most people across the world or even across the country could not afford, like, a lot of people, you know, it would be like a luxury to be able to do it. So I think there's different things around it. That's all.
There are. I'm just talking about how if I'm literally comparing two complete opposite things. You think about like cavemen. They ate what was around them.
Right.
They ate what they could get and could find and all of that stuff. And I'm just saying that is not the way we live anymore. We do not have to do that. You can choose what you're eating and what you're not eating. And is it as simple as that? No, because you're right. Stuff is certainly more expensive and, you know, just items themselves are more expensive and in certain places they're more expensive than others. I'm not suggesting it'd be like, yeah, everybody just stop doing it right now.
Right.
But I am suggesting it's easier than
than it was
where the
then.
circle of
Yeah.
life, the idea of the circle of life originated.
Yeah.
That's all I'm suggesting.
I'm just saying if people are living paycheck to paycheck, they can't, they
agree.
can't just say, well, I'm going to go to Whole Foods instead of going to Walmart, that kind of thing. So,
I agree.
also, if a coyote,
Stop it. Why are we doing? Why?
it could be any animal. I'm saying an animal kills an animal that would have killed another animal. Now he made the animal that down the line, you could look at it like that. Cut, take that out. Go ahead, next.
Going to the airing of grievances.
Okay.
The airing of grievances.
We're here. We've arrived at the airing of grievances. Why'd you have to bring up coyotes?
I was trying to get off the subject of goats.
Okay, well, now we're at the subject of coyotes. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Do you have any grievances?
No, I'm not going to say anything right now because you're teetering on the edge.
No, I'm fine. It's okay. I'm okay. What are your grievances? Let's hear them.
I had no time to think of anything.
We do this every week.
Well, no.
The fact, let me begin then. The fact that every week when we get to this segment, you say, I had no time to prepare. You had all week to prepare for this segment.
Well, a few minutes ago, that was one of my big grievances is the way that the whole thing with the buy a pair, give a pair.
Yeah.
Like the socks, like the sock company that does the same thing. What's
There's
the name?
There's a sock company that does that?
Yeah. Bamba? Is that it?
I have no idea.
I can't remember. No, it's a sock company. They do the same thing. And I remember when I saw the commercial initially, they looked like these probably two rich kids just out of college, okay?
Super judgmental.
This is my guess. It is super judgmental, but I think also has a super high probability of being correct, okay? Just out of college, they decided they're going to start their own company. Yeah, the average kid coming out of college doesn't have the resources to start their own company, but they decided they're going to make themselves feel good, okay? They're going to virtue signal by saying, you buy a pair, we give a pair, okay? And it's like, you don't give a pair. You charge me twice as much, so I can give a pair, but I can't deduct it on my taxes. You'll deduct it on your taxes. And I guarantee you, these two rich kids, they probably feel good about themselves, thinking that they're making the world a better place. It's like, what? It's like, no, that's not how it works. That's my grievance.
You might be yelling.
Oh, I might be.
Yeah.
No, that actually was one of the first ones when I saw those commercials. I literally got really mad. Since this is the last thing we're talking about for this podcast, the airing of grievances or the grieving of variances, I'm going to look that up. I'm going to look up their background. I'm doing it.
Why didn't you bring this up in the original episode when we talked about all this?
I just thought of it now.
Okay.
I have all kinds of things just bounce around in my head. Sometimes they just pop out whenever they do. It's like a pinball machine in my head.
And that describes Jim, for sure.
Yeah. Go ahead. What do you have? Come on. You have lots of complaints.
I did already complain about you, but there is.
That should be that should be on our Friday episode. Just your complaint about me, a specific thing.
Oh yeah. What is my complaint about you this week?
Yes.
Maybe we'll do that. That'd be kind of funny, but also probably really bad for your ego. I know what I was going to say yesterday, completely unrelated. We don't have to get into all the details about this, but I had conversation with someone about how I was trying to explain that I do know I'm a judgmental person, but I've gotten much better over the years. And how, because we were talking about family stuff, I was like, I know exactly where I get my judgmental gene from, and it's my father. 100%.
It's in all fairness, it's also why you're right most of the time.
No, and that's the issue. That is exactly the issue. So I would like to complain about, that is my Jim complaint for the week, that you gave me the judgmental gene, because I don't like it, but I have it. And you're right, I am right most of the time. But another complaint I have this week, when people don't use their headlights when they're driving in certain scenarios, because it's like, here's the thing. I feel like this is kind of the same conversation we had about turn signals, where, you know you're going left, so why do you have to signal that you're going left? It's not for you.
not
It's for
all
the
about
person
you.
behind you, okay? It's the same thing with headlights. This morning when I was going to walk the dogs, super foggy outside. Super foggy, okay? You can't see like
Yep.
5 feet in front of you, right? And so, me, a good driver, besides the fact that it's dark out anyway, because I turned them back on when I drove back too, in the daylight, because it was still really foggy. And that's what you do. Because the point of the lights in that situation is to let other cars know your position on the road. If you don't have your lights on because you're like, well, I can see, so that's fine. It's not about you. It's about the other cars around you.
It's both. It's both.
It's obviously
Right?
so
It's
you
not
can
just
see.
about you.
But if you can see with with just your, what are those called? Not your
parking lights.
Sure. I don't think that's the
That's what
technical
they're
term,
called.
but whatever. Sure. If you can see with just your parking lights, that's great. I cannot see you with just your parking lights.
Right.
And that is why you should have your headlights on.
Right.
So obviously when it's dark at night, you have to because you can't see. But
Right.
in situations, fog, heavy rain. The other day when I was driving, where was I going? Wherever I was going, I was on I-4. When I was driving to Tampa, the rain at one point, there was like a 10-minute interval. It was awful. You couldn't see anything. And you have cars that are going through the rain, no headlights, okay?
That's
so you'll
crazy.
be driving and then it'll be like before you even see the car in front of you that you're like driving about to hit, okay? There are only like 3 cars in front of you, like 3 car lengths in front of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so
And
dangerous. You have to drive with your
It's
headlights on,
annoying.
people.
Yeah.
Who raised these people?
That's why.
Great. This is another grievance because halfway through what I was just saying, was that a little monologue? Yeah, it was. Halfway through it, he starts laughing. And of course, it's
like,
about something that he's thinking in his own head. He's not actually listening to what I'm saying.
It's because I can't interrupt you. I can't interrupt you. I'm not allowed to interrupt you. All I was going to say is, I think that's also why people should have to have their dome lights on, because I can't see them. Okay? A lot of times when I'm driving, right? If I'm not sure what someone's doing, I look at them, right? Like, let's say they're coming the other way and I look over at them to see what they're doing, right? Let's say someone honks at you, okay? What do? You immediately try to look at them. Well, if it's dark, you can't see them and you can't see if they're yelling at you. Are they just waving hi? Where are you going? Come back. She's shutting it down. She's shutting it down.
This week's podcast is over. Have a great weekend. Oh, exciting news though. Our next episode will be coming to you live from the auto train.
Cool.
Bye.
I think if people are unattractive, they should have to keep their dome light off.
This week in history. We don't need outtakes.
I have had it.
Stop it right now. We don't need outtakes. Stop the recording. Stop it. No. Drop it.
Doppelganger. No.